I'm not really sure what I want to talk about. I think one of the things on my mind right now, why aren't people chasing forever? You know, why is death kind of universally accepted? Because, okay, like, most of the world now is monotheistic. But I do think a lot of Chinese teenagers might be atheists. I say that because they got over 1 billion people. So it's crazy. You got to look at a lot of statistics for China and India because 2/7, maybe more, of the world is in those two countries alone. Something to think about. I think most of the world outside of there is monotheistic. And the main monotheistic religions are Abrahamic religions. Um, and so that would mean you probably believe in the Adam and Eve story. And I do. I just ask, why aren't we all trying to get back to the Garden of Eden? There's this cool channel on YouTube, The Bible Project, and I love watching a lot of the videos. I'm kind of more on the just Torah side of things, so I don't watch a lot of the New Testament videos. What they understand about the concept of the Old Testament is that the whole goal of humanity was kind of trying to get back to the Garden of Eden, but we all kind of slip and fall into the ways of Babylon. And that's kind of what the whole concept of the Torah and the Tanakh is about. But we all kind of want to get to a better life, but we get caught up in the ways of the world. And this isn't the first time that there's been a society as loose as this one. I call it loose because you're kind of free to be whatever you want religiously in most societies today. Minus a few countries where you gotta be that religion. Most parts of the world, you can kind of be whatever you want as long as you pay your taxes. And that's kind of Babylonian rule. And though it seems free, I heard Eddie Griffin say once, if you want something for free, you must be dumb. That's why they call it freedom. The cost of this freedom is that because everybody believes in something different, you don't know what your neighbor's thinking. You don't know what they're driven by. You don't know how they'll act during a famine or a pandemic. As hard times gonna bring out a different side of people. And because we all don't have that same belief, you might be thinking, oh, we need to pray right now. And while your neighbor's thinking, prayer won't save us, we gotta save ourselves. And that right there alone is the difference between a religious person and a not religious person. Or I don't even want to put it all on religion. Just someone who leans on God and someone who just leans on their own willpower. For me, when it comes to that particular subject right there, I think God gives you a lot of common sense, and He does give you the will to move, but you know when it's time to tap out and get on your knees and pray. I was watching Animal Planet one time, and a lot of the times the male lion doesn't even hunt. The female lion does all the hunting, but with the children. But when they can't catch anything, that's when they'll just start roaring, and the male lion that circles the territory, he'll come in and help them get a catch. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I kind of feel when I've exhausted all my options, when I've done everything I can do in my own willpower and nothing is working. I just gotta call on God to be like, yo, I just need a break here. I need a little mini miracle. I need a way out. Going back to my main point of the getting back to the Garden of Eden, there's rumors that, I'm not gonna say rumors, it's written in the book. I just say rumors because, I realize people watching might be non-believers. But there's rumors that before the flood, people were living a lot longer. I've heard, I think I read once, reptiles don't stop growing for their entire lives. And so it's even possible that reptiles were living longer before the flood of Noah. Science does acknowledge that there was a flood, and that all the ice in Antarctica is enough to flood this place just like that again. It's possible that the dinosaurs that we see, the reptiles that we see, that were very large then, is because they were living longer too. You know, in the first few chapters of Genesis, the men were living really long. They were said to have been giants then, and so things were different then. I think that's what we call prehistoric. I don't believe Earth is as old as some parts of the science community, but I do believe that the part we call prehistoric was before that flood. And it's kind of hard for us to imagine that world because we're so far from that now. We don't have many giants walking around now, but just imagine if everybody was NBA height, but even taller. There were more people like that then. I keep digressing off the Garden of Eden, but I feel like the goal that everyone should be seeking, because we're all gonna multiply. We're getting so populated now, and I heard another person say this before, so I can't take credit. A man that's already living in Israel, by the way, say that
we're getting to the point where this planet is becoming a very small place. We have to move outside of this planet. But we can't move outside this planet as nations. We have to move outside this planet as a united nation.
But I think that future world that is going to be one full of peace is going to be one where, well, the Bible says we're not using weapons of war, but weapons of agriculture. And we're going to be cultivating and dominating the land because that's what we were made to do. You know, back then, before prehistory, a lot of people were living a lot longer. But after the flood, lifespans got much shorter, to the point where only recently, within the last 60, 70 years, they've lengthened. Like, people are living longer now than they have since it was rumored to have been back then. You know, because, I mean, if you was a man getting to 50 in the 1700s, you was kind of old. And now that's considered Middle Ages. A lot of the science community has come to the conclusion that this is a simulation. Now, I won't say that this is a simulation. It might be, but I'll tell you this much. We are in a bit of a game, and it has a developer, you know, and most of us call him God. He's our creator, and I believe he has laws he wants us to follow, and I believe once we do that, he will unlock certain doors to us. And it'll be a magnificent moment, or a resurrect. I do believe in a resurrection. Like I said, I'm not of any of the Abrahamic religions per se. I guess I'd be closest to Judaism because I do read the Torah and the Tanakh a lot. And I think the whole world should be under the laws of Moses, because the resurrection that I believe is going to happen is this moment that happens in Isaiah with the Valley of the Dry Bones, where God awakens, you know, all these bones that have been dead. You know, he asked Isaiah, can these bones live? And he says, God, only you know. And he does it. And so I believe there is going to be a moment in time where Yah does resurrect. You know, some people believe this is when the judgment will be. I think so. In the Jewish belief, you're said to just be in Sheol. If you die now, not to get on a dark topic, but you're said to be in Sheol. Sheol is just a state of nothing. I tell people all the time, I'm like, where you were before you were born, do you remember it? Because your spirit, the thought of you existed before you were born, but you probably don't have a good memory of anything before too. I hope that one day the whole earth will get on that accord that we have to get on, so that we can begin to live longer, possibly forever. Sometimes I get on my Bible app and I look at words that you know, stand out to me. I just see how many times the word forever appears. or how many times the word tabernacle appears, or the word heavens. You know, just any word I can find that's interesting, and do some study on that word. But forever, it's mentioned a lot. And there's one verse, I think, and it's either in Malachi or in Joel, where Yah talks about he's gonna open the windows of heaven if you just pay your tithes. I think that's what it says. Yeah, if you just pay your tithes, test him now in this, and see if he doesn't open the windows of heaven. That's worth a try. That's what he says. Test me. You know, like, give it a shot. You give everything else a shot. You give people a lot of shots. Give God a shot. I have to do a video on tithes at another time, but if you read everything, that's another word to look up. Look at how many times the word tithes appear in the Bible. And what you're going to find in the Old Testament is that the money, it didn't go to a church. It went to the tribe of Levi. And then they were required to pay a tenth, so it's a sacrifice, a tenth to the Most High. It wasn't even so much about money, it was your crops. Because a lot of times people back then had gardens or animals, and you would, you know, give the best tenth to the Levites, and that was your way of putting food on God's table. That was set up by Moses. If you were part of any of the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, that was something set up by Moses. He was a Levite. That's where tithe money is supposed to go. In my opinion, that's something that's forever, man. Like, that's something that's forever, but that's a separate video. That's a separate video. I think one day, and I hope in my lifetime, that the whole world will find its through line, so we can all be on the same page, so we can all have the same theme. Sometimes I look at the earth and I don't know what we're all working towards. Everybody kind of is going their own way. If you read the book of Judges, I think it says something like that. It says everybody kind of just did what was right in their own eyes. And I think that's where we are today. Everybody doing what's right to them. But I don't think we're going to get to that next level of mankind until we all get on one page. And when we do, man, I mean, look at what we've been able to do when we're all against each other with weapons. So imagine what we're able to do when we're all with each other, working towards the same thing with plowshares, or, you know, tools to cultivate the land and build and not destroy. And so, wherever you are watching this, may Yah, the Most High, bless you. And I hope you have a good rest of the week. I'll probably drop this video on Sabbath day. So, Shabbat Shalom. Have a good one.